All right, let's talk about cybersecurity. But I want you to forget everything you think you know about just, locking down servers. Today, we're doing something bigger. We're building a digital fortress. And this isn't just about defense. It's about building a foundation that's actually going to power your business forward.
So I've got a question for you, a really direct one. Is your business a fortress? Is it built on something solid? Or is it more like a house of cards, just waiting for a slight breeze to knock it all down? Because, let's be real, in the world we live in now, that difference, well, it's everything. The whole game has changed when it comes to cybersecurity. It used to be seen as just an IT cost, right? Another line item on the budget. But now, it's a massive strategic asset. It's the thing that lets you safely move to the cloud. It's what lets you use all that data to make brilliant decisions. And maybe most important of all, it's how you build rock-solid trust with your customers. It's really the bedrock of any modern business.
Okay, so where do we start? Well, just like any good fortress, you can't just start throwing up walls. You need a plan, an architect's blueprint. And in our world, that blueprint is your strategy. And this really shows you the foundational pillars of that plan. You've got your big picture strategy at the top, and holding it all up are things like governance, the rules of the road, an incident response plan for when, stuff hits the fan, solid risk management, and of course, metrics. You got to know if what you're doing is actually working, right?
So what are we really talking about with these strategic controls? Here's the key thing to get. This isn't about buying the latest, greatest piece of software. Nope. It's about building a culture of security. It's a framework that makes sure every single thing you do to defend yourself is perfectly aligned with what your business is trying to achieve.
Okay, blueprint is done. Now for the fun part. It's time to actually build the walls, raise the drawbridge, and post the guards. We're diving into the technical controls, the actual hardware and software that make up your fortress's defenses.
So let's start at the most obvious place, the main gate. How do you guard it? How do you check who's coming and going from your network?
The answer? A firewall. Seriously, just think of a firewall as the bouncer at the front door of your network. It's got a list. It checks everyone's ID. It inspects every single piece of data trying to get in or out. If something looks shady or isn't on the list, it's denied. End of story.
All right, the main gate is secure. Awesome. But what about the messages being sent out from inside the fortress? If a messenger gets captured on the road, how do you make sure the enemy can't read that secret message?
That's where encryption comes in. It's basically a secret code for your data. You scramble the message so that even if someone intercepts it, all they see is gibberish. It's completely unreadable unless you have the special key, the secret decoder ring, to unlock it. Okay, now let's think about what's happening inside the fortress walls. You've got all these different rooms, right? The treasury with the gold, the armory with the weapons. You can't just let anyone wander wherever they want. So how do you control who gets into which room? That, my friends, is access control. It's simple, really. You only give people the keys to the specific rooms they need to access to do their jobs. Nothing more. And to make it really secure, you use something called multi-factor authentication. Think of it like this. You don't just need the key, you also need to know a secret knock to get the door to open.
But look, let's be realistic. No fortress is perfect. Sometimes an intruder might slip past the gate. They're inside the walls now. So, how do you find them and stop them before they wreak havoc?
This is the job for your guards on patrol. We've got a couple of types. You've got IDS and IPS, intrusion detection and prevention systems. Think of them as guards who are constantly walking the hallways, watching all the traffic flowing through your network, looking for anything weird. Then you've got EDR, endpoint detection and response. This is like posting a dedicated guard at every single computer, every server. And these guys don't just sound an alarm. Oh no, they are empowered to step in and neutralize the threat on the spot.
Okay, one last thing. A fortress is constantly under stress from the elements. Over time, cracks can appear in the walls, and you absolutely have to find and fix those weaknesses before an attacker finds them first. And that brings us to patch management. This is your fortress's maintenance crew. They're out there every day, checking the walls, filling in the cracks, and making sure everything is solid. Seriously, just keeping your software updated is one of the single most powerful things you can do to keep attackers out. It's like locking all the windows they know how to open.
So, we've talked about the blueprint and the defenses, but having the tools is only half the battle. You have to use them correctly. The best way to learn is from history. So let's look at some lessons from past sieges, some famous victories, and some catastrophic defeats.
And we've got two perfect case studies to look at. On one side, we have a total failure,
the massive Target data breach back in 2013, and on the other, an amazing success story, how Microsoft completely reinvented its approach to security.
So what went wrong at Target? It was just a perfect storm of failures. First, how did the attackers even get in? Through a third-party heating and air conditioning vendor. The gatekeepers weren't watching the side doors. Then, once inside, they could wander anywhere they wanted. Total failure of access control. And the craziest part, the guards on patrol, the detection systems, were screaming that something was wrong. The alarms were blaring, but nobody listened.
Now let's flip the coin and look at Microsoft. What did they do right? Well, they started building security in from the very beginning, security by design. Their maintenance crew, their patch management became world-class, closing holes almost instantly. They gave their guards on patrol superpowers with AI and machine learning. And they adopted this brilliant philosophy called zero trust. It basically means we trust no one. You have to prove who you are every single time you want to open any door. No exceptions.
And all of this brings us to maybe the most important point of all. You can have the tallest walls and the sharpest swords, but a fortress is only as strong as the people leading it, the human element. That's the real wild card.
Because leaders, like all of us, have biases. There's the classic overconfidence bias. We're fine. It won't happen to us. Or the status quo bias. Why change anything? The old way hasn't failed us. Yet. And then there's the dangerous one, groupthink. That's where everyone in the room agrees not to rock the boat, even when they can see a giant hole in the plan. These are the cracks in the foundation of your leadership.
And ultimately, this is the key takeaway. Real security isn't just a checklist of software you bought. It's a living, breathing system. It's about understanding how all the pieces fit together. It's about connecting your defenses to what the business actually needs to protect. And it's all guided by strong leadership that sees the whole picture.
So, let's bring it all home. You can spend all the money in the world on the best technology. You can build the highest walls and hire the smartest guards. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to two things: people and trust. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Your fortress is built. Who are you going to trust with the keys?